everyone, and welcome to Note to Self, a discussion-led program about mental health, human rights, and everything else that might be deemed as taboo. I'm your host, Megan Preston, here with my co-host, Alyssa Williams.
Today's episode will feature discussions about sexual assault. If this is triggering to you, it might be best for you to leave this video and check out some of our other episodes.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and here at Note to Self, we wanted to have an honest discussion about this issue, talk about resources, and create a safe space for those who have experienced sexual assault.
According to RAINN, the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization, every 73 seconds an American is sexually assaulted, and 1 out of 6 women in the U.S. has been a victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. So consent is definitely something that we need to discuss. I feel like it's
there's so many blurry lines,
Exactly.
or people think there's so many blurry lines, but really consent is, if it's not a yes, then it's a no.
And I read up on enthusiastic consent. So essentially what that means is exactly how it sounds. If you are gung-ho about whatever activity you're getting ready to do, that's great. But a lot of people think that if you agree in the beginning, that you have to carry that out.
And you do not.
No. I mean, you can leave at any point in time and say no at any point in time. But I think as women, especially, we're too scared to initiate the confrontation.
We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. We
Yeah.
don't want anybody to be like, oh, she's just a tease or something like that, when in reality, we're just not comfortable anymore. And we have every single right to withdraw consent.
And I think a lot of people get so caught up in, well, they're my boyfriend or they're my girlfriend, so therefore it's fine.
I'm supposed to want to do this,
Yes.
and that's not the case.
No, and I think a lot of people get in trouble from that because they carry out something with their, relationship partner that they don't want to do, and they don't want to hurt their partner's feelings, like we mentioned earlier.
Right.
But yeah, and another thing we had talked about earlier is talking to children about consent. I've seen on TikTok a bunch of parents have, opened up about how they parent and how
Yes.
they make consent age appropriate for their specific child's age, and I think that's important as well.
Yeah, teaching your child about proper sexual education is going to go a long way within this, because there's a lot of court cases that are thrown out because the jury's not quite sure what they mean by certain things that a child says.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Here at Morehead State University, the nursing program is ranked 4th in the state and is named one of the best in the nation. Students have access to the latest in medical technology to provide hands-on practices. The Department of Nursing is creating nurses that want to change the world by saving others.
While we may be transitioning back to normal life, COVID is still a threat, so don't get a personal foul. This is COVID Referee. Even if you're a mouth breather like you look, this certainly isn't helping anyone. Pull that up. You only wash your hands for 15 of the recommended 30 seconds. Get back in there. 6 feet, please.
Welcome back to Note to Self. Did you know that college women are at a greater risk of sexual violence? According to RAINN.org, women who attend colleges ages 18 to 24 are 3 times more likely to experience sexual assault.
So we touched on this earlier before the episode. A lot of people are informed about the sexual assault that's happening on campus. I mean, a lot aren't as well, but what we don't think about is the things that are happening off campus, but close to campus.
Yes, so school communities are not just what you see when you walk on University Boulevard. There's frat houses, there's apartments that are close that most students live in, and it's not usually members outside of the school community.
Definitely. And I think a big thing, I know that Morehead State, we're creating a curriculum based around sexual assault for the FYS courses. However, I think we need to be more confrontational in terms of sexual assault. We're aware of victims, statistics, and resources. I think we need to focus on perpetrators. We need to be more honest about, what happens if you're caught up in something like that, because people care a lot about their egos. They care about their reputation. They don't want that to be tarnished. And I think if we were, upfront and honest about, the consequences that come from something like that, then people would be like, maybe, we should.
At the end of the day, forget somebody's reputation who is out here literally causing harm to somebody, that the harm will never go away. The physical harm, it ends after a rape, but the emotional, mental turmoil that you go through is forever. Like the Brock Turner case, they weren't going to report it. He wasn't going to get in any trouble. He was an all-star athlete. Is it Harvard University? I'm not sure which university.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But he raped a girl behind a dumpster and then got away with it. Well, was going to get away with it. His charges were not as severe as they should have been for a case where they deliberately watched this man do something to someone.
Yeah, and I know we had also discussed the April 24th thing that's going viral on TikTok. Do you want to discuss that a little bit more?
Yes. So apparently 6 boys on the app TikTok, they created this national holiday. It's not an actual national holiday, so you can't just make a national holiday, but they started a trend that said that it was National Sexual Assault Day or National Rape Day.
Yeah.
And so that they were going to try and force themselves on anyone that they wanted to, pretty much.
But how can you literally go on an app and say something like that and go to sleep at night?
People don't realize the kind of impact that has on younger people who use media, or anyone who uses media that doesn't use it correctly. Of course not everything you see is true on the internet, but some people are going to be like, oh, haha, this is perfect, or I'm going to be able to get away with this because I can blame it on somebody else because of this.
Yeah.
It's not a safe thing.
No. So, after the break, we'll be checking in with our friends Liv and Shelby. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Career Services offers many different services to both students and employers. We're here to connect students with employers and graduate programs. We help students along in the process of polishing their resumes and getting ready for interviews.
Our friends Liv and Shelby attended our campus safety walk last week and learned more about what MSU is doing to keep our campus safe. Here's a segment we like to call Post-it Note.
Hi, I'm Liv Walker and welcome back to this segment of Post-it Note. Today, Shelby and I sat down with the Student Government Association Senator Cameron Jury and talked about the safety walk that took place on April 15th. This past Thursday.
Safety Walk has always been something that's happening. It was something that I sort of inherited from Emily Wiley, who is the now president and was last year's vice president of administration. And I'm not positive if she started it or not, but it's a semesterly walk that we do. We did one last semester, and so we're doing the spring one. It's just us, a group of SJ students, and anybody else who wants to come, walking around campus to look at things that might be unsafe or inaccessible for students, just to ensure that students are having the best campus experience that they can. We check for the call boxes. We also just look at lighting in general. Any cracks in the pavement that might cause big gaps, and we think about how accessible that would be for somebody with a wheelchair or on crutches or on a scooter. just to sort of make sure that campus is doing what it needs to be. So in terms of like specific things that we look for, the call boxes are the only ones, but other general things that we sort of eyeball are those. As a woman, I know that even on the safety walk, we talked a lot about lighting in certain areas. It's on my sheets. I'm putting it down, talking to facilities about it. We actually had the facilities director, Kim Oatman, come, and I know that he said that was a lot of his concern as well. So I think for me, the big thing would just be lighting. I think the call boxes are great, but we do have the safest campus in the state. And I know that like we do still have incidents occur sometimes, but there is a lot to be grateful for in terms of the safety that we are lucky enough to have on campus. On the safety walk last semester, on the parking lots up by West Manon, and then the one across back by the library, the safety walk, we noted that there was a lot of lack of lighting up there, and that a lot of students felt really safe. We sort of decided in a partnership with facilities, we passed a bill, we approved money to go towards a new light poles for up there to increase the lighting, and facilities is going to be putting them in. I mean, we do have the safest campus in the state out of private and public schools, and I think that there's a lot to be said for that. Whether it's just the area that we're in or the safety measures the university has put in place. And I mean, I think that it's very easy to criticize the university without the understanding of how the inner workings work.
Although Morehead State University is a relatively safe campus, please make sure to always pay attention to your surroundings.
The university is putting in a lot of work to make this the best it can be, and I really do commend them for it. I think they're doing a great job.
Thank you guys so much for watching this segment of Post-it Note. And Alyssa and Megan will be right back after the break.
Quarantine has been a strain on us all, but here are some things you can do to keep your mood and spirits up. Keep in touch with friends over the phone or through apps like Skype or Discord. Pick up a hobby to help pass the time and keep your mind focused. Going for a run outside is a great way to stay in shape and can be a fun activity. And if you need help during these tough times, counseling and health services is available for telehealth appointments from 8 to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Call 606-783-2055.
So, did you finish that project yet? Not yet. So what you doing? I'm entertaining myself with these colorful, interchanging bricks. Fun for all ages until a muse strikes me. Sounds like you're procrastinating. Nay, I'm merely employing advanced waiting techniques. Well, you know it's due in an hour, right? Huh?
With the Me Too movement, victims of sexual assault across the nation gain confidence to come out against their perpetrators, but sometimes speaking out can be terrifying.
So I feel like there are a lot of things that can stop people from reporting sexual assault. I know, like we had touched on reputation and such earlier. No one wants to be deemed as a victim. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to be faced with something like that and feel as though it feels like the world, but it could just be, your classmates, your community looking at you like this poor defenseless person who couldn't take care of yourself.
Not only that, but there's also the fear of, are they going to believe me? Are they going to think I'm telling the truth? Or they know this person to be as such a good guy or such a good girl, and then all of a sudden I'm coming out against them saying, hey, they hurt me. Mm-hmm. It's a scary thing. It's not easy. Yeah, which we had touched, on that a little earlier, the abuse of power. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, take advantage of people who are below them. I think of that movie, I can't recall the name of it, but it has Charlize Theron and all of these powerhouse women portraying the news anchors that were coming out against, their bosses. Good. I don't know if I've seen it, but this sounds like a fun movie. I know. I haven't seen it either. I've just seen clips from it. But, that dynamic, you see that a lot in terms of sexual assault. And although it can be very scary to come out,
you see in that movie that, I mean, they started an entire movement.
Oh, yes.
And so the power of multiple people coming together can change everything.
Well, like we just mentioned, the Me Too movement, like, it came from one post. Just a woman was just like, I've had enough. This has went on for too long. And then suddenly so many other women came out and they were like, you know what, this is an issue. We have to do something to fix it. And there's no better way to stop something than to speak out about it. And there's a bunch of resources through jobs and through schools that will give you hotlines if there's somebody above you in a workplace taking abuse.
And if you're younger in school or something like that and you can't confide in a family member or an educator of some sort, someone who has authority over you, again, there are those hotlines available, and most of them are completely anonymous, and you can just report your perpetrator and get everything taken care of. So if you have experienced sexual assault, just know that you're not alone. You have people here to support you through these dark times. Please do not hesitate to utilize the resources that we've provided on today's episode. I'm your host, Alyssa Williams, here with Megan Preston, and from everyone here at Note to Self, good night and thanks for watching.